Hey guys. Um, so I just want to do a quick video about the upcoming Glimmer of Light nerfs in 8.3. I'm going to be doing a longer video in the future of more theoretical analysis of the changes that were made to Holy Paladin from Legion to BFA and how he got into a position where playstyles like the Glimmer of Light build, with basically just doing whatever we can to get as many Holy Shocks as possible, have become inherently just superior to builds that are based around getting Holy Shock crits and playing around Infusion of Light and whatnot. How the changing of the critical strike scaling for Holy Shock and the changing values, the relative value of Infusion of Light, Flash of Light to Holy Shock, has kind of led to Holy Paladin being either not viable or broken, overpowered, just due to the fact that the intended mechanics of the spec with Infusion of Light, with Holy Shock critting, with us trying to get these big juicy crits, it does not fit the way in which they've set up the relative values of the abilities in the crit scaling. So that'll be a bigger video coming soon. But first, I just want to get this more straightforward video out there as quickly as it can to kind of counteract some of the knee-jerk reactions people have. And I've had these knee-jerk reactions too since the Glimmer of Light nerfs were announced, that it's the sky is falling and Holy Paladin's not going to be viable and it's dead spec. Because we right now have we can routinely during wings with Holy Avenger get 15, 16 glimmers up at a time, and they're all healing. It's big, it's basically like its own healing, is how it feels. And only having 8 glimmers up seems like, well, if I can have 16 glimmers up and I'm doing this much healing, limiting it to 8, you're basically cutting my healing in half during my cooldowns. So it seems like this spec is kind of doomed. But that's actually very much inaccurate with how the spec actually works. So I'm going to be going through some logs and some very sophisticated Microsoft Paint demonstrations of what is actually happening when we're Glimmer healing, to show that, on the contrary, I think that actually the target cap of 8 glimmers is not going to hurt our effective healing much at all. And when you balance it against the increased proc chance on visions, which other healers, except for occasionally Resto Shamans, don't really use. Other healers use other essences so that the buff to visions doesn't help them. I think that, especially with Discipline being nerfed, with Atonement being nerfed 9%, because the 5%, that's not how numbers work, 9%. I think this patch actually relatively strengthens Holy Paladin compared to other healers. Not sure if that's Blizzard's intention, but they keep misunderstanding how Holy Paladin works and how Glimmer of Light works, and their attempts to buff, or their attempts to nerf the spec, have led to us continually getting stronger and stronger. So I'm not going to really complain about that, but I do want to explain kind of what's happening with Glimmer of Light real quick, and why it is not a big deal that it is being limited to 8 targets for a raid. And a caveat, a lot of people have said, well, they're clearly trying to buff, or they're clearly trying to nerf Holy Paladins in raid without nerfing Holy Paladins in Mythic Plus or PvP. And I might be more protective of Holy Paladin's quality in Mythic Plus, because that's the content that I prefer to play. But I actually am much more concerned about the impact that the target cap will have on Mythic Plus than I am about the impact it'll have in raid, because overhealing is a thing, over damaging is not as much a thing, and that's mostly what glimmers are that's mostly where my concern is for Mythic Plus, is the fact that if I want to have Glimmer on 6 enemies, I can only have it on 2 allies. When I put it on a third ally, it's falling off of an enemy. It's lost damage. So, but let's get into it, and let's look at. Just to stroke my own ego, I want to look at this wonderful 99 parse behemoth log. Now we were gearing up another healer's alt Holy Paladin, because, you know, who doesn't want to reroll their healer to Holy Paladin? Every raid wants as many of them as they can get, so gotta get our Mistweaver some gear on his Holy Pad. So there was plenty to heal, because we had a very undergeared healer, and Behemoth is not a very friendly fight for druids. You know, you can't control where your wild growths go. If your wild growths are going on people with spines, everyone is injured. So it's not only, you're not just going to get your wild growths on spines, and you know, getting people to stand in F-flow underwater is not going to happen. So it was me, 2 rest of druids, and a very undergeared Holy Paladin alt. So that, you know, it wasn't me playing. You know, I'm not an amazing player. But I was able to do a lot of healing because there was a lot of healing to be done. But I also got amazing procs. And several times during the fight, I had many glimmers up simultaneously, and that helped me do a lot of healing. So I think that's a good fight to look at for comparing what would it be like if there was an 8 target cap on Glimmer. So before I get into looking at specific situations within this log, let's look at some Microsoft Paint. So can I do like this to make it cool? Nope, that's not gonna work. Okay. There we go. So it's easy to look at raid frames that have 15 of the 20 people in the raid with Glimmer on them and say, okay, well, if I can only have Glimmer on 8 of them, and I'm doing big spread healing with a Glimmer of Light, I'm going to be doing half as much healing if I'm limited to just 8 people. That kind of would be how it would work with Atonement, or other healers, heal over time effects, whatnot. It's fundamentally different from Glimmer of Light for one main reason. That's that with like a Druid Hots or Atonement, things like that, you apply the Atonements, right, with your Radiances, with your just shield spam, whatever, and then you DPS the boss to heal your Atonements. So you get the Atonements out, and then you heal them up. Or you just send out your rejuves, but the rejuves themselves aren't what is healing people. The rejuve is, but it's the application of the rejuve is not the important aspect of the healing. It's the fact that they have a rejuve on them. With Glimmer of Light, a sizable portion of the healing is the Holy Shock itself, and this Holy Shock leaves behind the Glimmer, which is worth a certain amount of healing as we do more Holy Shocks. What this ends up looking like is, and another big note is that the target cap on Glimmer, as far as healing is concerned, only will apply like in any meaningful way during Wings with Holy Avenger, like our cooldowns. Outside of cooldowns, 5 or 6 glimmers is the most you're going to be able to maintain. So the fact that it's capped at 8 targets is not going to be significant. But so let's look at, assuming we are in the middle of Wings with Holy Avenger and everything, and we're just pumping out Holy Shocks. Every other glow, just Holy Shock, Crusader Strike, Holy Shock, Crusader Strike, okay, Holy Shock, Crusader Strike, Holy Shock, gets a Glimmer of Light, Crusader Strike, Holy Shock, get these glimmers, Holy Shock. See, and this keeps going as we do our Holy Shocks. This is how it works right now. So There's gotta be an easier way to do this. Like keybinds or something. I don't know. I click my abilities in game, so I think I can click my Microsoft Paint, right? Just kidding. Just kidding. This is basically how it works right now. When we cast the Holy Shock, which it's important to keep in mind is a lot of healing, and that's what I'll get into in my bigger video in the future. Regardless of how little critical strike we have, Holy Shock still does a lot of healing, which I think isn't necessarily good for the spec, but this is basically what we have going on. Every time we cast one of these Holy Shocks, look at all these Glimmer heals. So, this is, I believe, a 12 by 12 grid. So this is what it looks like on my 12th Glimmer. 12th Glimmer is probably 20 seconds, 23 seconds into, well, it's 24 probably, honestly. 24 seconds into wings. You got about 5 seconds left of wings. This is the majority of your wings. It looks like this. The green boxes are the Holy Shocks, which are 120k healing to, a third of someone's health at least. Counting in your mastery, counting in, like procs or something, it could be, 200k heal. And because it's during wings, the glimmers are, well, we can see on this right here. Over the course of the entire fight, 21, I think I have a snippet of, yeah, this is my first wings in this fight. My average Glimmer heal is 27k. My average Holy Shock is 110k. So you can just deal with 100k, 25k. Right? It seems fair. It's kind of lowballing even. So the green boxes are 100k healing and 25k healing for the pink boxes. Now, what is happening with the target cap? 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's the most we can get with this target cap. When this would have happened, right, when we would have gotten this box, this Glimmer actually just went away. This Holy Shock gave us this much value, and in 8.2 would give us all of this value continuing until it expires. With the target cap, 8 Glimmers on different targets later, you can even get more value from this in 8.3 if not all of your Glimmers are on different targets. They should generally, as long as you can use a Holy Shock on a target that doesn't have it that could use healing, you should. But assuming all of your Holy Shocks have been on different targets, once you get to this 8th Holy Shock, after it's been applied, it will go away. And so this is the limit on the healing that you can get from that Holy Shock. How much healing is this? 100, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess actually 7. So 275,000 healing on Behemoth, where mastery value is not even being taken advantage of that much and whatnot. So upwards of 350,000 healing, a full health bar. A full health bar, even if the person's not getting any other heals. If you're solo healing, it's still a full health bar. Then the red line, where the Glimmer goes away because an 8th Glimmer has been applied. So this right here, if you cast these 12 Glimmers, this amount of Glimmer is being lost in 8.3. The rest of all of this is just fine. That will not be going away. This part will be going away. Now, that does not matter to us at all, because this part was never doing any healing anyway. By the time you've got 4 or 5 Glimmers on the target, almost always, they're already topped off, not taking significant enough damage to even justify the Glimmer anymore. It is overhealing. We can look at all phases, my healing on this. So again, okay, my healing, this behemoth fight, raw healing, raw HPS 95k, 30% of it overhealing. Glimmer of Light, 37% overhealing. Right. Effective healing, very good. This is not a spec that makes me think, this is not an amount of throughput that makes me think the sky is falling. And there's a lot of overhealing. The person who's been healed with a 120k flash of light, or a holy shock, and 8 25 30k glimmers, and has been topped off, not being healed by 4 more glimmers, that is that overhealing. That is coming from this part of the bar, not this part. Basically, it's, think of Jellyweed, the trinket that the most injured person that you heal gets 10% additional healing, up to 25,000 healing or whatever. If they just made that trinket be whoever the Jellyweed buff goes on, gets 10% additional healing for 30 seconds. That would be outlandishly overpowered. But they put a limit on it, say up to 25,000 healing. That's essentially what this is doing. Except it's your Glimmer of Light makes your holy shocks, this one holy shock, add a Glimmer of Light's worth of value every time you use holy shock, up to actually about 300,000, 350,000 healing. That's the upper limit on it, because it's not even worth looking into what about when you don't have wings up, your glimmers aren't critting 40% of the time, your glimmers aren't buffed 30%, your holy shocks aren't critting 70% of the time, your holy shocks aren't buffed 30% from Holy Avenger, 30% from wings. It's not even worth looking into, you know, how small those glimmer heals would be or anything about that, because you're not going to have 8 glimmers up at a time outside of wings and Holy Avenger. So when these heals are incredibly strong are the only times you're actually going to run into your limit on the number of glimmers that you have up. Which is when you don't need any more healing than you're already getting from these 8 glimmers. And one holy shot giving you almost 400,000 healing worth of value. Basically, they're taking this away from our spec, which just cleans up the logs, honestly. It doesn't really change this all that much, but it changes this. You know, you're not going to be doing 5 times as much overhealing as any other healer in your raid anymore, but you're not going to be doing that much less healing than you would anyway. People, you can look at raid frames and see 15 glimmers on a 20-person raid and think, well, if you can only have glimmer on 8 people, then you're missing out on almost half your glimmers. Well, the 7 glimmers that are up on those frames that won't be up on those frames in 8.3 are the ones that are on full health people that have been full health for 5-10 seconds. Those glimmers are not doing anything anyway. So I'm going to show that happening in this fight. This is my first wings. Let's look at just Glimmer of Light healing, raw healing. So Glimmer of Light and the actual minty green parts on top are overhealing. So let's look here. 85% of my glimmer healing on Dirk was overheal. You know, 71% of my Glimmer Healing on Fidge was Overheal. I was spreading around Glimmers because everyone was topped off. We were fine. I just wanted to blanket the raid. I put a Glimmer on Strife. %100% Overheal. And that Holy Shock I cast on him did actually nothing, and that was a Glimmer. Not having that Glimmer in 8.3 wouldn't have hurt my healing. So let's look at what does this look like. Yeah, I healed him early on, and then he got topped off. Right, I Holy Shocked him at some point. Holy Shocked him right here. Really. So when I'm looking at these Glimmers within my wings, each one of the spikes obviously is one Holy Shock. Holy Shock, Holy Shock, Holy Shock, Holy Shock. After the second Glimmer heal, he was topped off. Overheal, overheal, overheal. Hey, there's one where it actually did something. Hey, did a tiny bit there. Overheal, 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 overheal. Pointless. Now, the three people that really I saw that really emphasized this point: Arc, Yadidi, and Chris. That was Overheal, but I still get this value. Let's look at one at a time. Arc. I Holy Shock Arc here. Big Glimmer healing all the way through. Notice this would have been the last Glimmer heal he would have gotten. My next Holy Shock would have removed that Glimmer from Arc to put it on whoever that next person I Holy Shocked was. Perfect timing. With the 8.3 target cap on Glimmer, I would have missed out on all of this overhealing and also that little bit of effective healing. Big nerf, big nerf. Let's look at Yadidi. Holy Shocked here. Was topped off from the big crit Holy Shock, I'm assuming, but probably had spines. So the first Glimmer heal, that next Glimmer heal was Overheal, and then effective healing. Effective healing, yup, 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 yup. This is where it would have been removed. So I did miss out on that. I would have missed out on that Glimmer and that Glimmer, as well as this Overhealing, this Overhealing, this Overhealing, and this Overhealing. These two effective Glimmers I would not have gotten with the 8.3 target cap. I also would not have gotten any of that Overhealing. Big nerf. And Chris. Holy Shocked here. Effective healing, effective healing, effective healing, effective healing. Overheal, overheal, and I believe Overheal, and this last one right here. I wouldn't have gotten that Overheal. The Glimmer would have been removed after this. In 8.3, I would not have gotten that Overhealing. Big nerf. So that you can just see that just highlights all this Overhealing at the end of these, all this effective healing. Look at the 8 Glimmer heals of effective healing, and then all this Overhealing. Those are the 8 effective heals we'll get in 8.3, and they'll be removed. So we won't get any of this Overhealing, but we're not going to miss out on that much effective healing. Essentially, this that is being removed is this Overhealing. Oh. Whoa, undo. Oh, come on. Okay, so this limit actually doesn't change anything. For like it's a minute nerf. It's 3 4% nerf, whereas the 12% proc rate buff to visions is a significant buff. Drop my pencil. Is a significant buff. Comparing the increased proc rate on visions with the target cap, I think that Holy Paladins will be in a stronger place in 8.3 than we are right now. Visions is just that good for us. The fact that no other healer benefits really from the buff to visions except sometimes Resto Shaman. And the main competitor with Holy Paladin, the Discipline Priest, is getting a 9% nerf to Atonement. Holy Paladin looks to be even more the top dog in 8.3 than it is right now. With, you know, it's up in the air how well Mistweaver is going to do. That's going to be interesting to see. They could be competitive. It could be a lot of fun. Pretty excited to see what Fistweaving is like in 8.3 if it works out. But the idea that the sky is falling for Holy Paladin is just not true. The idea that we're going to have to change our rotation, the idea that we're going to have to skew our cooldowns, because otherwise we're going to be wasting Glimmers, because, you know, you don't want to cast that 9th Holy Shock when you already have 8 Glimmers up. That's, no. You don't change your gameplay at all. Don't change your gameplay at all. Don't try to avoid haste all of a sudden. Just ignore the fact that anything is changing in raid. Ignore the fact that anything's changing. Don't blanket Glimmers across full health people just to get Glimmers out. You know, just only use your Holy Shocks on people that need healing. But just, if you have Holy Shock available and somebody's missing health, put Holy Shock on them. Stick to that basic mantra and you'll be fine. And the only thing you're going to be missing out on in 8.3 is all of this juicy overheal. You know. Well, let's look at what it did to me. Yeah, mine's a bit more erratic because I think I Holy Shocked myself several times. This was actually, I didn't even put a Glimmer on. I didn't even Holy Shock there. That's just Beacon. Yeah. So basically, we already aren't getting value from having 15 Glimmers out. The one fight that we kind of do get a lot of value from that on is Queen's Court, because it just lines up perfectly with our cooldowns that, you know, between that first and that second spark, you're just ramping up. You're just full healing. Every other global, you're full healing someone with a Holy Shock. And then the spark comes out, you already have those 15 Glimmers up, and you're just pumping out heals. You know what? Not gonna lie, Holy Paladin is a little bit overpowered on Queen's Court and in general, but on Queen's Court, I don't think that on a fight like that lines up that perfectly with Glimmer, the target cap is gonna make those situations not as perfect for us. That's fine. I kind of don't like the fact that there is a fight where you're going to consistently see logs of good healers of multiple classes healing that fight, where you have in every instance you like the 90k, 100k HPS Holy Paladin, and then all the other healers are at 60k HPS, and they look like dog shit in comparison, because of how like massive the healing from the Holy Paladin is, and it's just because the fight lines up well and Glimmer's overpowered as hell. That situation will not happen as frequently with the target cap, but outside of a fight that's like basically handcrafted for the OP aspects of Glimmer, like in the vast majority of situations, the target cap actually does nothing to our effective healing. Barely affects our overhealing at all. Or barely affects our effective healing at all. It just is going to take a pretty sizable chunk out of our overhealing. That being said, it won't take a sizable enough of a chunk out of our overhealing for us to not constantly have a completely full well of existence. So, gameplay wise, the change isn't really going to do anything. Actually, I honestly am kind of glad that the change is happening, even though it is obviously a nerf. There's no way you could twist it into being like some sort of a buff or something. Obviously, it is uncapped and it's becoming capped, so it is a nerf. there's no way that that makes us stronger. But I kind of like it because I'm not going to feel this pressure while, activating wings, one person's 30% health, one person's 50% health, everyone else is topped off. And I holy shock the one guy who's low health, and I holy shock the other guy who's like half health. And the first guy is still 60, 70, 75% health, and everyone else is topped off. Well, I can top him off with holy shock. Or I can get to spreading around the glimmers and get a glimmer on as many people as possible. I don't like holy shocking full health people when there are not full health people, just so I can get glimmers out. It becomes a lot less advantageous to be holy shocking full health people instead of not full health people, instead of injured people that already have glimmer on them with the target cap on glimmer. So we can, without any guilt or second thoughts, holy shock the guy that's not topped off, even if he already has glimmer on him. It's going to make it much more intuitive, much less punishing, or not necessarily punishing, much less the cognitive dissonance, the sort of tension of wanting to heal the person who's not topped off while needing to spend holy shock applying a buff that we're going to use for cleave healing. That's going to be that tension's going to be alleviated a bit. So I'm kind of glad about that, even though it is a nerf. It's not in any way it's taking something that's limitless and putting a limit on it. So it isn't a buff, but it's going to make it, at least to me, feel a little bit better to play. And I'm pretty excited to have more wings uptime while doing it. So, I don't know. I don't think that the panic about Holy Paladin's next patch is necessary or warranted. We're going to be just fine. If you're playing a Holy Pally, if you re-rolled because of how strong Holy Pallies are, don't think that you wasted your time. You didn't. We're still going to be pretty amazing next patch. So yeah, it seems like a bigger change than it is. But, yeah. Mark my words. People said the same thing about Glimmer getting 15% nerf coming into Eternal Palace, and we saw what happened with that. So, a month into 8.3, we're going to look at the logs. Holy Paladins are still going to be right on top. So yeah, so I was a bit ranty. I didn't really script that out or anything. Kind of just wanted to throw that out there because there's a lot of misguided discussion about the change going around, and I wanted to clear up some things about kind of how what the healing pattern of Glimmer looks like. It looks like this to kind of assuage people's fears and doubts. I don't want Holy Pallies to reroll preemptively thinking that the spec's going to be bad just because people react to a nerf that sounds a lot worse than it is. But yeah, I'll be having a bigger video coming out fairly soon about just the spec in general and why, how we got to this point where the idea of Infusion of Light or the idea of trying to get critical Holy Shocks, Holy Shock critting is a big deal. Why that no longer is the case, the kinds of ways in which the change to Holy Shock crit chance and Infusion of Light value and the relative value Flash of Light to Holy Shock change, those changes that were made coming into BFA have kind of gotten us in this position where, honestly, even if Glimmer of Light wasn't a thing, I wouldn't be surprised if builds like this that simply existed just to get big Holy Shocks out constantly during wings were still the best way to go. The fundamental mechanics of the Holy Paladin spec are kind of broken at the moment, kind of non-existent, which I'm not too pleased about. But so I'll be talking more about why that happened and ways that Blizzard might be able to fix that in an upcoming video. But I just wanted to get the part that was more directly relevant to the 8.3 Glimmer change out there as soon as possible. If you've listened to me ranting about Glimmer of Light for this long, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Or remember to check out my stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/RutiLive. I have been playing a lot of Classic lately, but I'm getting back into doing Holy Pally keys on retail, so most nights, some mornings, midday, here and there, no particular schedule, but I'm on stream all the time, so just stop on by. Pretty good chance I'll be online, and always down to talk about Holy Pally content, Holy Pally, Holy Pally 3, and so check me out on Twitch, and comment, like, subscribe if you want more rants about unnecessarily complicating WoW theory. All right. Have a good one, guys. And see you next time.